What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into today's video. We are going to be building out a trading strategy here in this video with two special indicators that we're going to cover from Lux Algo. So with that said, if you haven't seen the last video posted up on the channel, that would be a good place to start if you want to get a little more insight into indicator number one. We're going to take indicator number one and we're going to add indicator number two on there, and we're going to show you the power of using these two indicators in tandem to create a potential trading strategy. In this case, it'll be more of a swing trading strategy from the time frames that we're using, but it can be utilized and customized however you see fit. And that is the power and the fun of the stock market, the crypto market, just the markets in general, because you have full control, customization, build out any plans, strategies you want. And hopefully in these videos, we can give you some of the tools that you can add to your arsenal that are going to help you do exactly that and pull money out of the markets. So we're looking at TradingView. If you don't have this platform, that's where we're going to load the indicators onto, and you can do that pretty easily. You don't even have to have a paid account. We have the premium version, but you don't have to have that. We're also going to pair up Lux Algo. So links to TradingView and Lux Algo in the video description box to get the exact same looking charts that we have on our screen if you want to follow along. Or if you don't, check it out. And if you want to at the end, great, maybe try it out. The perks of both: TradingView has a 30-day free trial, and Lux Algo is a money-back guarantee for 30 days. So highly recommend on platforms, products that you'd use, whether it's in the trading space or not. You take full advantage of those things and utilize them so that you don't end up wasting money if you don't like it at the end, right? That's the whole game. Okay, so we're going to pull down and we're going to add our Lux Algo signals and overlays that you will have access to under the indicator section under invite only scripts. It'll be this one right here, Lux Algo signals and overlays premium. Okay. I'm now going to pop it up in the chart. Here is the indicator that we had last time. Okay. If I go to the settings and inputs, that is the trend tracer from our last video, the trend tracer. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the smart trail to the trend tracer. Boom. We're in the money here. Now we've got something to play off of. Okay. So let's now walk you through how we're going to use the smart trail indicator and the trend tracer to build a trading strategy here on TradingView with Lux Algo's wonderful indicators. So what the smart trail is really doing is it's kind of trailing, and obviously that's the name, but what we can use it for is we can use it as a trailing stop loss, okay? Which is cool because it takes the guesswork out of where do I put my trailing stop loss? Well, you'll notice that no indicator is going to be perfect, but this one does a pretty darn good job at allowing you to have a trailing stop loss and sticking to it. So we talked about last time that the entry on a trade, for example, is when we have price action breaking above or below these trend line or the trend tracer, or these trend dots in this case that we customize it to, these red dots. So when we have red dots and we cross from below the red dots to above the red dots and we close above them, that indicates a potential trend change. And that's exactly what we got right here. And you actually had a couple of days of consolidation on Bitcoin to enter in that break. Now, what happens? Well, once that occurs, what we tend to see is our smart trail indicator show up. And now the smart trail can be used as our stop loss. So when I enter a trade, if I was to enter this trade on Bitcoin, my stop loss is here. But that stop loss, the great thing about it is that that's going to push up. If price action keeps going up, it's going to push up. And so now my stop loss is if we are going to close underneath this blue line. Okay. And we did just that. And so once we did, this would have ended up netting you a slightly green to break even trade. Okay. On the break of that level. And that would have been a great example of that. Now, of course, you actually could have been green because, why? Because this actually would have been a nice trade to the upside. Let's say I got in here and I immediately put my stop loss down towards that. and I put my take profit, wherever I put it, we actually would have got a one-to-one risk reward. This is where the customization can come in, because the customization is really, really cool. And you can adjust this and build out your risk management style based off of whatever you want to do, which is the best part about it. It's because no one is going to trade this the exact same, which allows you to use it however you see fit. If everyone was doing the exact same thing, this wouldn't work. But that's where trading becomes much more interesting to many of us or appealing, because again, right? You have full control, customization. You make the rules, right? You make the rules. Yeah, I guess you don't have to make the rules, but that's probably never a good idea. So you would have been up a one-to-one on a risk-reward scale here at some point. And what you may have also done was potentially gotten stopped out. Now, we like to look for a close. Maybe you like to look for a wick. Once the price goes below, you would have gotten stopped out. So if you got stopped out here, which is possible, then you would have had a slight gain. You would have had net a slight gain on profits. So that's an example right there of how we're using this indicator to be the trailing stop loss. Now, of course, it's never going to be perfect, but let's go back to the left and show you guys an example of using this indicator. Let's take a second and look at the short on Bitcoin right here. Okay. If you shorted Bitcoin because we had a nice trend to the upside, we had price action above our green dots, crossing below our green dots, okay, on the trend tracer. And then we have the initiation of the smart trail indicator. That's our stop loss. So if we enter a trade right in here, we now have our stop loss right there. Boom. And we could have rode this thing all the way home. Technically, you may have gotten close to stopping out in a couple of these little spots. Technically, you would have gotten close to stopping out maybe here. You could have maybe gotten stopped out here, or even a little bit of this choppiness here. But we didn't really have a true push or a candle close above that indicator. So either way, you would have been really fat in the green on your trade here because you would have been way down from where we entered. And so what I like to look for is a 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1, 2-to-1, even a 2.5-to-1. Once you get something along those lines, start locking in gains. And this way, it allows you to be kind of proactive, but then also still have some money on the table to let things ride out and follow your smart trail indicator. Okay, so that is the biggest thing. And the biggest takeaway here, or the next time we saw this opportunity, or one other recent time, go back to 2021. This is going back in time. It's not just like, just right now. We had downside pressure on Bitcoin, and then we had a break. Okay, we had a move from underneath the red smart dots, or not the smart dots, the trend tracer dots, to above. And we closed. So if you got in right here, your stop loss would have been here. Okay. Pull, push up, pull down, push up, push up. This would have been a really, really nice trade. If we look at a risk reward profile from the initial entry point, and we can adjust our stop loss here. But if we look at our risk reward profile, we would have had a nearly 2-to-1, 1.8-to-1. And technically speaking, as time went on, we could have adjusted that stop, and it would have been a much better risk reward as time goes on this trade. And so we would have gotten a big move, and then eventually would have gotten stopped out right in here, which would have been for a nice fat chunk of profit. And what we like to do is we like to avoid these periods where we have a lot of choppiness. We like to avoid that. We don't like to play when there's a lot of choppiness, ups and downs, upper wicks, lower wicks. You want to see sustained periods of time where we had price action trading below our red dots, mostly. And then, of course, we're looking for reversals. We're looking for that cross. And then sustained periods of time of price action above our green dots, and looking for reversal when we break back below those. And that's our entry point we talked about a little more in depth in the last video. So with that said, you can even go back in time and see some even better examples of this, back in, 2020, there's even some great examples of back in 2020 of this playing out very, very nicely. But now we've got a strategy that we can utilize, and an automatic trailing stop loss, number one. And number two, a way to identify trend reversals and trend changes and trend shifts in a market, whether that's Bitcoin, whether that's the S&P 500, whether that's, whatever. Let's look at SPY really quick. If I pull up SPY's chart, what you're going to see is a lot of choppiness as of late. So maybe this isn't the best time to trade it, but if you were to look back over time, you would have had some nice examples of bear markets and essentially downtrends that were crossed back up, for example, back over to the green, and really beautiful moves. And then you would have gotten stopped out back up in here, way above your entry price, which would have been right down in here, which is incredible in terms of the S&P 500. And the same exact thing could have gone the downside, because it wasn't like this was random. We had a downside break, and once our indicator popped up, we could have taken advantage of a big move to the downside on the S&P. And so that's why we like using these indicators, pairing them up and using them as a guide. Hey, if you don't like one of them and you want to adjust them. But the Smart Trail indicator is one of the best at building or creating or guiding you into a trailing stop loss. And so if you're having trouble with that, the Smart Trail is going to be one of the best indicators from Lux Algo to systematically take out the emotions and put the trailing stop loss right in front of your face on your screen. All you got to do is check in, make sure you didn't close back above it, and you are good to go. This video helped you guys out. Hit the thumbs up button, consider subscribing here to the channel, and let us know what you want to see in the future. And we'll be happy to do some more videos just like that. Thanks so much again. Links to TradingView and Lux Algo in the description box down below. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.